We don't actually know if anyone else exists. My experience of life is only through my own perception. All of the sensory perception, the sight, the sound, the taste, the touch, they're actually impulses from the outside world, and they're going through the filter, the receiver of your brain. So you're actually experiencing everything through your brain. You're not necessarily actually experiencing the other person. Everything is actually my perception, and I don't really have a way to prove that something outside of me exists because I'm experiencing everything outside of me from the inside of me. Everything around you is perceived by you, and that when you change your perception, you change the world around you, quite literally, because you start to interact with things differently. Subscribe to Conscious Community, tap the bell to stay notified. We don't actually know if anyone else exists. So if you haven't heard of this before, it actually has a name. And this is a concept that I have spent years thinking about it. When I learn something new or have a new experience or gain some wisdom, I apply it to that concept. And what I've found so far, my experience of life is only through my own perception. When I look at a bush or a tree or this fence, what I'm looking at is actually my interpretation of it. I'm not actually looking only at the fence. I'm looking at the fence from my perspective. So this fence right here is three-dimensional, right? It has a width, a length, a height. It has a density, it has a color, and it has this expression of lining this whole yard. So that fence as a whole has an expression, right? And when I'm standing right here and I'm looking at this fence, I'm actually experiencing this fence from right here. I don't see the other side. I don't see the part of the fence that's behind me, and I'm experiencing it in this shape with my vision. And the settings on our vision in this earthly, worldly, human experience is that our vision goes like this, right? If you've ever done art or you're an artist or you took art in school, you'll know that a perspective drawing goes like this. Everything in your vision is like a pyramid, and the tip of the pyramid is the furthest point you can see in the distance on the horizon in front of you, and the base of the pyramid is right here. And so everything that you're looking at is actually going down, and that would look like this. Right? When you look down a long road, it goes like this, and it gets skinny, and then it ends. And so that's what my perspective of this fence is. So I'm actually experiencing this fence from my perspective. If I were experiencing the fence for only what it is, I would have to only experience the essence of the fence and not have the perspective of seeing the fence from outside of it. So if you ask me, Aaron, who are you? That's a really hard thing for me to explain and put into words, because I actually don't know who I am. I don't have a reference point to who I am. If I was this fence, right, I wouldn't be able to see me from the perspective that I'm looking at the fence right now. So if I was this fence, I would just feel like this dense wood structure that spans the yard. I wouldn't have the perspective of someone else standing outside and looking at me, the fence. And so when you think about the world, right, and why are we here, and what is the point, and all of these things, I think it's really valuable to look at how you're experiencing the world. And I alluded to this just a minute or two ago when I said that I, Aaron, only see the world from my perception. And in fact, there are people on the other side of this camera, like you watching this video, that I don't actually know if you're real or alive. One, because I may not have met you, and two, because when I interact with someone and I see their eyes and we lock eyes, yes, it feels like it's another consciousness that I am interacting with. And yes, it does feel like there's a sentient being there. However, although there is a sentient being in front of me, I'm actually experiencing the sentient being. I know that that sentient being is there because my perception is here watching them. So everything is actually my perception, and I don't really have a way to prove that something outside of me exists because I'm experiencing everything outside of me from the inside of me. So to take this even a little bit deeper and crazier, your brain, right, is inside of your skull. It's dark. The only thing that receives light is through your eyes. The actual brain is protected. It's in the darkness. So your processing unit, the area where you process all of the sensory perception, the sight, the sound, the taste, the touch, the 5 earthly senses, they're actually experiencing like impulses from the outside world, and they're going through the filter, the receiver of your brain. So you're actually experiencing everything through your brain. You're not necessarily actually experiencing the other person. So of course this is debatable. This is just a wonderful perspective to kind of see that everything around you is perceived by you, and that when you change your perception, you change the world around you, quite literally, because you start to interact with things differently. If you know about the double slit experiment, and you're familiar with the idea that of law of attraction in essence, where when you shift something inside of you, then the world around you reacts to that, right? So when you start to look at these things, it just brings a more full picture in to the equation when we're asking the question and potentially looking for an answer to the question of what is this place? Why am I here? What is Earth? How did we get here? What's the point? Should I even be here? And I think it's a valid thing to question, to ask. Why am I here? Should I be here? Am I supposed to be here? Did I come here on purpose? Was I placed here? Just really interesting things like that. And that's a really fun way to look at it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed these perspectives, subscribe to Conscious Community, tap the bell to stay notified. I love sharing things that I learn about in life, and I love when other people share those things as well. So check out the A Perspective video series with a ton of really cool people, interviews and discussions based on consciousness, spirituality, practical spirituality, grounded spirituality, having awareness, and yeah, I just really hope that you get value out of this. My name is Aaron. This is Conscious Community. Much love, y'all. Peace.